Oh boy, there seem to be quite a lot of animals roaming around as of late. I come back from a semester of Seton Academy and yet I cannot escape it. Whatever shall I do? Well, I guess I can brush off the constant annoyance for a little while in order to focus on a commentary. That should spare me the trouble of having to face that damn dun wolf again, and her subservient ass sister. God, do I not want to deal with either one of them right now. Alright, for anybody who doesn't know what's going on, allow me to sum things up in a nutshell. Back in December of 2019, a user by the name of Neko made a video listing off his complaints with the slideshow commentary community as part of his Coda Content Cop investigation series. But it did not age all too well, given the like-to-dislike ratio as of late, and the fact that Neko has unlisted the video from his channel, a sign that he disowned it, or at the very least just didn't want to face much more backlash from the CC. Jump ahead to April of this year, a user by the name of Night Tie did a one-shot commentary on Neko's video, which another user in question named Deviant Crow, also known as Matt Plushie, took issue with and made a commentary on. The commentary was fine for the most part, however not too many people actually like it. This leads into another user named Nicholas E Miranda, who around the time of scripting this video, decided to make a commentary on it. And while Nicholas himself is not one of the bigger members of the commentary community, he is one of the more infamous ones for a variety of things. From recording commentary videos on his phone where he plays commentary videos he's talking about on his tablet, to mumbling quite a bit in his videos. So I'm going to do everyone a common courtesy and actually subtitle his videos so you guys can understand what he's saying. I'm also going to re-edit his videos so that instead of staring at a tablet screen playing Deviant Crow's video, you guys are going to see the video in its original quality. Now with that said, let's dive right into the video to see if it's any good.
So, this guy made a video on Night Tie's video on Nicholas E Miranda.
Well, I guess I'm just bored now and want to do anything I can to just piss people off.
Does that basically imply that you're trolling? And no, you're not supposed to admit to being a troll if you are one.
No, Deviant Crow never admitted to being a troll in this opening segment, as he was explaining the reason why he was coming back to commentaries when he didn't have any fun with doing so before.
But why am I coming back to the commentary community when I had no fun with it last time? Well, I guess I'm just bored now and want to do anything I can to just piss people off, and this is the best way of doing it.
Also, even if Deviant Crow is a troll, trolls can still make points to others that they disagree with. They're not just restricted to bugging the absolute crap out of people on the internet 24/7.
Oh boy, who are we gonna make a commentary on first? Me to Tie-Dye. In my opinion, he's a low-grade commentary channel, but let's not get biases ahead because I have had a history with this person. And if you go on their channel, there are a few videos about you-know-who.
Actually, no. Not everyone is gonna know who it is. Especially since you changed your username, and some people might not have heard of this YouTuber that you're covering.
A fair point to make. Not everyone who watches Crow's video is going to know who Night Tie is, so he should go a bit more into detail about this person so that his audience can be caught up with the history between the two of them. That being said, he does provide a screenshot of his channel name, and even has a link to the video he's covering in the description of this video, so that if anybody is interested in finding out a bit more about Night Tie, they have a clear idea of where to go for context. Now, Nicholas is going to skip through most of the fluff of this video, but there are still some lengthy parts sprinkled in. Unfortunately, I don't have a surefire way to fast forward through these parts since the Windows Movie Maker program I'm using cuts off the audio when I try to go at twice the speed. So, apologies in advance if it feels like needless padding at times. Hello, Post Beastie here. Now, with this point right here, some people could make the argument, if you can't fast forward through parts of the video, why not just skip to the main point so that the video doesn't drag out? Well, the problem with that is that there are going to be times in these segments where context is going to be vital to the points that Crow is going to bring up against Night Tie, and if the context is skipped over, then it would feel like I'm going to take both Crow and Nicholas out of context. And besides, nobody's really ever 100% sure what context is important or not to the overall discussion, so it's better to leave some unimportant stuff in than to take important stuff out. It's like cutting fat off of a brisket before smoking it. You can trim the fat off of it, but you can't put it back on.
Greetings, viewers! Night here, bringing you another commentary. You miss me doing these, don't ya? Yeah, I bet you do.
Okay, I'm gonna get a few what would normally be called nitpicks out of the way, and really that's because they are nitpicks. Now to tie-dye, I'm not going to assume you have a good amount of money to spend on better mics and stuff. But if you do, please, because the mic quality in this video isn't that great. It kind of has this small room effect that kind of muddles up, it just doesn't sound good. Also, maybe it would be better if you had a bit of consistency with your images. It goes from one art style to the next.
But if you're using more than one image, of course another one's gonna go out nowhere.
But that's not much of an excuse on Night Tie-Dye's part, as Crow is saying that if he's going to use pictures of his avatar, then at the very least there should be consistency within the art style that he's using. And even though he says it's a nitpick, it is something that is jarring to him. And just to provide an example as to what I'm talking about, one of my friends on Fur Affinity, Oliver the Oshawott, draws digital artwork of mostly Pokemon, and a lot of people really like seeing it. However, if he starts to show images of hand-drawn Pokemon, it wouldn't mesh all too well with what he usually does, and thus would be jarring to see for some people. Now, grant you, Crow does go on to say that not all changes to usage of an art style on Night Tie-Dye's part are inherently bad, but overall, he would just like to see more consistency in the Fox's artwork.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't planning on making my next video a commentary, but today is a rather special case, since the video I'm responding to is from a commentator called Neko Koda, formerly Kainu, who did a rant on the slideshow commentary community. Like a lot of people, I thought it was trash, but didn't really care.
If you didn't care when the video first came out, why cover it now?
Because random commenter, in one part of the video where they talk about bandwagoning, one of my older videos is showcased. And wouldn't you know, I kind of took exception with that.
Now, already seen here, this is another thing you're going to want to put in the back of your mind. He points out this is, a little bit personal. And I am in no way insinuating that making a commentary because someone, pointed out a flaw in you, that isn't bad. If someone pointed out a flaw in you and they were wrong about it, and they were incorrect, then perfectly go out through it.
You're just sort of repeating what you just said. In fact, you did that in some parts of the video, and wearing it differently doesn't stop it from being the same point.
Did he actually repeat what Night Tie-Dye said? Because when I watched the video, it seemed like Deviant Crow was inferring the overall point of why Nye wanted to make a one-shot to Neko Koda based on what he was saying in the video. Neko's video on the CC was out, and I watched it and came to a part of the video where he was thrown in along with other commentators as a point about the CC bandwagoning on a select few people who made bad videos, and he had a personal problem with it that he wanted to address in his one-shot to Neko. This led Crow to the conclusion that he came to that Nye was doing this for personal reasons. It wasn't at all to repeat what Nye was saying. It was to provide a summary of what he got from the Fox's reasoning for commenting on Neko Koda.
But as we'll find out later, he doesn't really work on that.
Now, this isn't just some snap decision. I've actually been debating with myself whether or not to do this for a while now.
Look at this piece of dog shit. That's the kind of face he thinks he's better than me. I bet he's looking at me and think he's better than me. He's not fucking better.
Isn't this joke you're making here repeating the same point you made earlier about the images?
Where in his joke did he say anything about Night Tie-Dye's different images? He was poking fun at his thinker image, saying that it was giving off the impression that Night Tie-Dye thinks he's better than others. Now, no, he wasn't saying that he was better than anyone, but regardless of the minor issue of Crow's point, he wasn't repeating his earlier point about the usage and consistency of Night Tie's images. He was just making a joke at best and a potshot at worst.
This community loves bandwagons, and I mean loves bandwagons. Let me introduce you to Wandering Kirito X7 Commentaries, a YouTube nobody who made one bad video on a guy named Keyblade Master. Now, how many videos do you think were done with this kid? Not one, not two, not three, not Not even 4, but 5 fucking videos were done on the kid. Right, I gotta leave, okay? No, we just started, come on, man. Listen, there's a lot to see in this life. I'm not wasting it here. Guys, I think he gets it. No need to beat him over the head 5 times with the same points. Like, who wants to watch basically the same video coming out of 5 different mouths? That shit's boring. Now, if each video had new and interesting points, I could give it a pass. But you don't. You all make the same points, and it wasn't needed. Oh, but that's just one time. Really? Dark Commentator Bandwagon, 5 videos, all the same points. Dwebley Bandwagon, 7 videos on the kid. Now, I could excuse some of the videos here, like Dulsmix brought something new to the table, and V Omega's was fine, except for the last part, but the rest were, at best, forgettable. Guys, if someone makes a video on something you wanted to cover and all you can do is repeat points and not add anything, don't make the same commentary.
Oh, you know what, Coda? That's actually a really good point. It'd sure be a shame if someone came along and, I don't know, debunked it. So, as you guys can see, my video on Dwebs is at the very bottom of this playlist. Funny story. Almost all the videos in that playlist are about petty little drama Dwebley had with as of 101 in a comment section somewhere. I say almost because, and you're gonna laugh, I know I did, my video has relatively little to do with that whole mess.
Now, normally, this would be the point where someone would elaborate why their videos wasn't like the other videos and wasn't basically the same. But Nataida doesn't do this.
You just now said that that's not gonna happen, yeah, it literally is right now.
Well, in accordance with your video, Nightai is about to bring up a common argument he had against Dwebley in Dulsmix's video, which at least the Deviant Crow isn't elaborating on why his video is different from the other videos made against Dwebley at the time.
The only connection it has is the comment section of Dulsmix's video, where Dwebley and I had a little back and forth because I chose to poke fun at him.
So instead of trying to show why the videos are different and why his aren't like the other ones that he called petty, he showed that he had a petty fight in the comment section.
But that actually does prove that it's different because the video was made for different reasons.
I strongly urge you to rewatch the video you're covering, because Crow's point is that Nightai is showing his petty comment argument against Dwebley as an example as to how his video was different from other commentaries done on him, instead of actually pointing out specific instances where he made points against Dwebley's video that were different from what other commentators were saying about him. To him, this is not evidence enough to support Nai's argument against Coda that his video against Dwebley was made for different reasons than those of other commentators.
Nataida, that isn't proving anything. If anything, that's just gonna make people doubt that you're telling the truth even more. Also, great, an ableist joke. Good job, Nataida.
Wait, why are you criticizing him for something he did in the comics section? Wait, you're making a point about what he did in the comics section, arguing with that? No, they're bringing up the comics section, they're not arguing about it still. So why are you even making this point?
If I can play devil's advocacy for Deviant Crow a bit with his sarcasm against Nai, it's safe to assume, given what we know about Deviant Crow, that he doesn't really like jokes about disabilities, and the real joke comes from when an autist screeches at someone, as he goes on to explain after a sarcastic jab. Now, it's perfectly fine for Crow to not like disability jokes. After all, humor is subjective. I tend to think that you can joke about anything you want, but if Deviant doesn't like it, that's his prerogative. There's nothing you can do to change his preference on what jokes are funny to him.
For context, the re-meme is in direct correlation to autistic screeching. Now I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that he saw other people doing it and thought, oh, funny meme, but now you know the true origin of the meme and why you probably shouldn't use it. Also, furthermore, looking on it, it seems like he's trying to stake the flames in order to piss someone off, which really doesn't go to help you look any less petty in a tie-dye.
That comic section you just showed doesn't even prove that's trolling at all.
It might just be me who sees it, but there are some hints within the comments that Nightai made in response to Dwebley that would lead Crow to believe that Nai is trying to quote-unquote stake the flames in order to piss someone off. For example, the mischievous little face that he puts at the end of the comment. Or, if that's not enough to convince you, there's the phrase, I did consider covering you but decided A, you're not worth making a second video on, and B, everyone else has done an excellent job. But hey, try and pick a fight with me. While the first part of the phrase can be interpreted as just, I wanted to make another video on you, but circumstances have kept me from doing so, the second part of the phrase can easily be seen as Naitai challenging Dwebley to make an emotionally driven video on him that would ultimately end up making Nai look bad, since for all we know, he could have been starting shit that would understandably make Dwebley upset with him.
Not only do you not show that your video was not about petty squabbling like the other videos, but you show a picture that shows you have the ability to be very petty. That's not helping your case at all. If anything, it makes you look worse.
So no, my commentary wasn't just simply rehashing stuff that everyone else had already said, but showcasing how Dwebley got salty from a little joke I made at his expense. Coda, you should know that, considering you left a comment on that video back when you were Kainu. I'm left with only two possibilities here. One, you weren't paying attention to that commentary, or two, you chose to misrepresent it for the sake of your narrative. And you should know from my commentaries on Mad Plushie and Seriously Isaac that I really don't care for when people do that.
Going, well, he commented on the video, so he should know it's not petty like the others, isn't going to help your case much. All that shows is that you two has very different opinions about the videos. He thinks it's petty, you don't think it's petty. In the video, it says this video is not a personal attack.
Wait, why is the image small? Or not being shown all the way? I mean, I see that you're showing what it says there, but it does this again later on, so I don't see why you're doing it.
He's showing Naitai's disclaimer to make a point that Naitai is contradicting himself by saying that the video on Neko Koda is not done for any personal attack or reason, when it seems to Crow that he's doing this because he has a personal history with the user in question. Whether or not the image is cropped does not take away from this point nor debunk it in any way. The image is there as sort of a visual aid to help us understand how Crow came to the point that he came to in the video.
Yet there's no reasons to do this out of personal reasons, because if there was an objective reason that he was wrong, you would show it, but you're not showing it. Why aren't you showing it? Do you not explain how your videos were different and show why they were different because of laziness? Did you assume that everyone was just going to take your word for it? You can't do that in a critiquing video because, well, there's not really a critique there. At the very least, not a well-made one.
And you're showing nothing. And yes, that proves the point I made earlier was true, that you for some reason didn't show the image all the way.
So, Crow not showing how Naitai is doing this video for personal reasons against Neko is proof that he wasn't showing his disclaimer all the way? I somewhat agree with you that Crow doesn't really show proof that what Naitai says in his disclaimer does not reflect on the intent of his one-shot to Neko Koda, but the second part of your point really baffles me. I mean, grant you the fact that this somehow makes sense in retrospect. Again, what does him cropping the disclaimer take away from his overall point against Naitai? Please elaborate, because if there's something I'm missing, I'd like to know.
Again, I understand you disowned this video, but this section on bandwagoning was poorly thought out.
Earlier in the video, you mentioned that you were going to explain why you did this video, despite it being disowned. Despite, the original creator saying, yeah, I don't like this doesn't represent my opinion, it's shit. Yet again, the only possible seeable reason why you did it is because of personal reasons. And I thought the disclaimer at your video said no personal attacks, but this seems to be just a personal attack without very much criticism or explaining as to why they were wrong.
No. There was no point in the video that was even being spiteful, so the video was not an attack at all.
Wait, what? Since when did Crow make the assumption that Naitai was being spiteful towards Neko? Once again, he was getting onto Naitai's case for possibly making this video for personal reasons towards Neko, and using the fact that Nai doesn't really explain why his video on Dwebley was any different than the other commentary videos done on him, and instead shows a comments section argument towards Dwebley to try and prove his point as an example of how he came to the conclusion that he did. Watching Deviant Crow's video in its entirety myself, I have not heard one instance where he labeled Night Tie-Dye as being spiteful. That is, unless there's something he said earlier on that would indicate that he thinks Nai is being spiteful, but you don't show it in your video. So I'm sorry, but unless you can provide the clip in the video, this point is confusing at best and severely flawed at worst. And that's basically where Nicholas's video ends, so time for final thoughts. Nicholas, I think a lot of the problems with this video came down to you not fully understanding what Deviant Crow's points were about. There were times when you tried to argue against sarcasm and joking, and it just really irked me when watching this video. Then there were points that were pretty jumbled and disjointed, leaving me in absolute confusion to the point where my brain started to hurt from trying to comprehend what you were talking about. The biggest thing I can recommend you do in the future is to script your commentaries and watch the video you are covering multiple times. That way you can gather your thoughts clearly and come up with what you want to say in your videos. Then there's the issue of recording in one take from your phone. To this, I strongly urge that you start looking into editing your content. There are movie maker programs that you can download onto your phone that will allow you to do this. And hell, YouTube lets you download videos that you want to talk about onto your phone. So there's no reason why you can't do so and film multiple takes of your avatars, all of which you can edit into a good commentary. And then finally, you're mumbling. Now, why might you not know the reason why you mumble throughout your videos? I can offer up a possible explanation. Coming from somebody who's introverted, I think the reason why you mumble in your videos is because, as an introvert, you lack the confidence that extroverts have when speaking to an online video making community, and as a result, you're afraid to speak up in your videos. Don't be afraid to do so, because there are others out there who are introverted yet speak just fine in their videos to their audiences, Dumbsbill and Alduin Jajinka being two examples. It may seem like a long road to get that confidence, but trust me, your content will benefit in the long run from it. Now with all that out of the way, I need to get back to the Academy before it starts up again. I really do not want to deal with the huge wave of animals that... God damn it! Well, this is the end of the video. If you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if there's any points that I missed or fucked up on, feel free to tell me in the comments below. I do want to become better at commentaries, and learning from mistakes made is the best way that I can. And until next time, this is 64 Beastie Man, beasting out.